Hey there, how you going? My name is Jason Partington and I am the founder of the meditationHQ community. In this video, I get to tell you a little bit about the story about how we started. And we started at the end of 2018, so around sort of November, December 2018. It was an interesting time with COVID around the corner and where I live in the northern beaches of Sydney. We had a real crisis happening there, and just in our peninsula alone, in that particular year, we lost 33 people to suicide in that year. And it was a very difficult time for everyone in that area that lived in that area. Everyone knew someone or was attached in some way to someone that had passed and was affected by it. And fortunately and unfortunately, we live in a very, very beautiful place which has got an amazing cliff top, and unfortunately that's where people chose to complete their journey, or many people chose to complete their journey. And I just still remember like weekends, you'd hear an ambulance followed by another ambulance, followed by police cars. Then you'd hear a chopper, and you'd just be going, oh God, like we've lost somebody else, like somebody else has passed. So there was a crew that was formed that came to the area to really do some trauma support for the community because of this happening. And what actually happened was it was actually a call out to men, because I'm not sure if you know the statistics, but we lose about 9 people every day to suicide. It's actually our largest rate of death, or way of people passing between the ages of 15 to 44. We lose 9 people a day. It's sobering stat when you really think about it. And 3/4 of those people are men. And so at the surf club, there was a group that was sponsored by Gotcha for Life that brought together the men in the community. And I'm not sure what they expected, because they put out about 30 chairs in the surf club. And I remember walking there. I had my son Sam with me, and I just remember there was a real energy in the air that particular night. And I walked in the door. I was quite early, and they were just sort of setting up, a couple of these chairs. And I was like, how many people are you expecting here? And he's like, oh, I'm not sure. We're not really sure. Anyway, 300 men turned up. It was unbelievable. They were shocked. They didn't know what to do. 300 men basically shoulder to shoulder with their sons. And it was a watershed moment. Not just our foundation came out of that night, but several other foundations came out of that night. Charities that were inspired by the community and the reaction and what occurred that evening. And without giving away too much, because it is, what occurred that night was special, and but men that had lost their sons stood up and talked openly about what had occurred and what the signs were, and the lack of signs before their son's passing, and the impact that it had on their life. And the facilitators asked the crowd, how many of the crowd had felt depressed or isolated or lonely. And I was shocked by how many men put their hand up and about truly what way that they were feeling inside. And yeah, it was an incredible moment. And I remember sitting there like quite emotional, hearing the stories. And for me, meditation had really been a savior. Like, it saved me. It had saved my life, like, in many ways. And I felt privileged to know that I had this practice that I could lean into, that was a way of me nurturing myself and connecting with myself. And like, basically, like, hardly any of those 300 men meditated. And so for me, that was like a light shining moment. It was I still remember sitting there going, wow, no, like, hardly any of these guys meditate or have a mindfulness practice, and they're all feeling disconnected and alone. And so I asked myself the question in that moment. I remember sitting there just quite silent and just asked myself, so why is nobody meditating? Like, why am I one of the only very few people that are meditating on the beach by myself in the morning? And I guess the answer that came back was that meditation is just not, at that particular time, wasn't accessible. It wasn't available. And I guess a lot of men particularly, like, saw it as something either deeply religious or too spiritual, or it just wasn't for them, or meditation was something that you do in yoga rooms and things like that. So it wasn't really super accessible and available in a way that was, that they could just walk up and just easily connect and not be confronted by, the vulnerability side of it potentially. So thus was born Meditation HQ. So it started off in a different name. It was called Making Meditation Mainstream. It's funny because I still use that name a lot. It ended up, evolving into another name as well, which was called The Sit. And now it's Meditation HQ. There's a long story about why it evolved into what it is now. But we really settled on this beautiful new name and community of Meditation HQ. And so the idea around it was to make meditation as accessible, practical, easy, free to walk up to, and just try it and enjoy it. And to take all of the kind of like deeply spiritual or religious stuff out of it and just keep it in connection to self, connection to each other, and connection to nature. And so it's got these beautiful, simple themes that you can come to. So generally speaking, we do it in nature. So we do it at beaches and in parks to make it really accessible for people to just walk up and say, hey, listen, I'd like to join. That was part of the initiative, was to, how can we just make it so that we'll be there every week so people can rely upon us. And it's free every week. We're not asking anything from you. So that consistency of us and our leaders being there every week and holding the space and having a process that doesn't change. It's the same beautiful process every time. And yeah, we just guide people, we give people prior instruction on what to do. And there's a little bit of guidance that, if you're sitting in the sand and then you have the opportunity of sitting and meditating. Now, if you haven't meditated before, you can follow some of the instructions and guidelines that we follow. If you're an experienced meditator, you can come and just be a part of the group energy and just be involved and do your own meditation. If you want to bring headphones and just plug in, listen to a meditation, you can do that as well. And also you can just be present and just be mindful as well. You don't even have to, effectively meditate. You can just come and be present and look at the sunrise, or look at nature and just be in silence and be a part of it all. So there's so many opportunities for people. It's so simple, and we've got these 4 beautiful themes that we weave into each month. So they are gratitude, kindness, sharing, and earth care. And we weave these themes into our weekly gathering, and that makes the difference every week. Is that we keep the process really simple, and it's the same process every week, so you can rely on it. It doesn't shift and change too much. It's the same process, and there's safety in that, so you know what you're getting. And we just beautifully introduce these themes for you to consider and to take on. And there's no necessity to talk if you don't want, or to share if you don't want. It's up to you as to how you want that experience to be. And so we started with just myself sitting on a beach with a bit of a flag, and then a couple of people came, and then more people came, and then before you know it, we had 50 people. And it was that moment of seeing people come was just like it's just a beautiful moment for me, because I remember feeling, God, I'm here by myself, kind of putting myself out there, being really super vulnerable. And then all these people came, and it's been amazing. It's in the last 5 years. We just launched our 17th location in Adelaide, my hometown. And we've got these wonderful leaders who give up their time and hold space for community. And it's so much more than just meditation. It's about inclusion, being seen, being a part of a community, being a part of something. And it's the friendships and all of the ripple effects that you don't see, which makes it so amazing. People going for coffee together, people socializing together, friendships starting, relationships starting actually. People going and swimming together, and then just having these experiences that they're getting from here. But for me, one of the most special things is the reaction that you get when you see 50 people meditating together on the sand in silence, with different demographics, different people from different backgrounds, old, young, kids, dogs, all sitting together. And they're just sitting there in silence. They're just there's a leveler that just makes that experience unbelievably beautiful in a time where there's wars and differences and money and power and overwhelm. To see that many people come together under the same banner and just sit in silence, there's something unbelievably special about it. And when the one that I launched in Avalon Beach in Sydney, there's a cliff top, and it's really lovely to see 20, 30, 40 people having coffee up on the cliff top, watching these 40 or 50 people meditating. It's just, and so there's a great ripple effect that happens from that when people witness a group of people all meditating together. It then gives them permission to do the same. You know what I mean? Like it then invites them that this is normalized. It's a normal thing for people to connect. And that's what this thing is all about. And so it's my mission to take this globally. I've always had a big grand vision, and although it started on one beach and we're now at 17 locations, the goal by 2030 is to have this at 100 locations, to have it all around the world. Can you imagine? Like all of these groups of people from all different ways of life and backgrounds, all different ages, all doing the same thing at sunrise and connecting together as a community. It's just magic, I reckon. That's just magic. And part of our other goal and mission is to work with partners. We've got a very close partnership with Lifeline, Australia, and we've got a huge goal of raising $1 million by the time we get to 2030. We've already raised over 100K for that particular initiative over the last couple of years, and yeah, so 100 locations and raising $1 million for a charity, and also doing 1 million meditations as well. So we run these beautiful events. We've got 2 events that run each year. One is called 1 Million Meditations, which is all about bringing the community together in May every year. And it's a fundraiser for Lifeline, but it's also an opportunity to experience lots of different types of meditations. Our beautiful team curate these guided meditations, and yeah, they make these wonderful meditations for people to experience daily over a 21-day period. We're lucky this particular year we've got a wonderful ambassador in Melissa Ambrosini, who's going to be joining us. And yeah, so we've got that. Plus we've also got the University Meditation Challenge, which is coming up in October for Mental Health Month. And we're going to be working deeply with universities. This year alone, we have worked closely with Uni of Sydney and UTS. And we are currently bringing together a very important research paper, which is going to be talking into the benefits of meditation, particularly with mental wellness and mental health. And so they're using all of our events as data. And yeah, so that's a really special relationship that we're nurturing as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And, this is an open invitation to you to want to be involved, either as a participant, or potentially you might want to be a leader and facilitator or a volunteer and help out at one of our existing locations. Or maybe you want to start a meditation HQ of your own. We would love to go to regional towns. We would love to, to really be able to service areas that are suffering with mental health problems and isolation, and use this as a way of connecting people together. So if that's you, if you're a leader or you want to lead, or you want to create a community, we would love to be able to do that with you. And if you're overseas and you happen to see this video, then please get in contact, because we would love to be global as well. And more importantly is if you're a company or an organization and you see powerful alignment with what we're doing, then we'd love to hear from you as well. So, and that's because we've got big goals, and we need grant money, and we need funds and investment in order to be able to lift this off. We can't do it alone. We need, we don't want to charge our participants because we want to keep it free and accessible. So it means that we need to rely on the charity and philanthropy of individuals, and also companies and organizations that feel powerfully aligned to this message. So that if that's you, I would deeply, appreciate and be very grateful for hearing from you as to, how you can help us to achieve our goals by 2030 and help more people. The impact of this organization blows me away. The amount of people that contact me and tell me how much this means to them. Us being there every week to hold meditation in community is mind-blowing. So thanks for being with me on the journey, and for listening this long. And I'd love to hear from you. And if you're a part of Meditation HQ and this is impacting your world, then please send us a note as well. We'd love to connect with you. Thanks, everyone.